Story came out yesterday. PBS will no longer distribute the Tavis Smiley program following what spokesman called multiple credible allegations of sexual misconduct uncovered by a recent investigation into the late-night show's host's behavior. News of the suspension of Smiley's show, produced by TS Media, an independent production company, was first reported by Variety. This investigation included interviews with witnesses as well as with Mr. Smiley. That's important. This is from PBS. As well as with Mr. Smiley. The inquiry uncovered multiple credible allegations of conduct that is inconsistent with the values and standards of PBS, and the totality of this information led to today's decision.
It's never ending, man.
So I want to play just a little bit of Tavis, but I want to read the important parts of this. Here's Tavis came out last night on Facebook. Listen to this.
Hi, I'm Tavis. I was as shocked as you were to hear of PBS's sudden announcement regarding my television program. Let me say at the outset that I have the utmost respect for all women, and I certainly celebrate the courage of those women who've come forth of late to share their own truth. But let me also assure you that I have never groped, inappropriately exposed myself, or coerced any colleague in the workplace ever in my 30-year career.
He says, never, ever, ever. Now listen to this. He says, PBS launched a so-called investigation of me without even informing me. I learned of the investigation when former staffers started contacting me to share the uncomfortable experience of receiving a phone call from a stranger asking whether I had ever done anything to them and made them feel uncomfortable, and if they could provide other names of people to call. Now, what does that sound like, Stu? Does that sound familiar in our history? Can you tell me, have you done this, or has this happened to you? And can you provide me some names and numbers?
Have you, or are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
And
right.
We demand that you give us names. Mm-hmm. After 14 seasons, that's how I learned of this inquiry, from the street. Only after being threatened with a lawsuit did PBS investigators reluctantly agree to interview me for 3 hours. If having a consensual relationship with a colleague years ago is the stuff that leads to this kind of public humiliation, by the way, that's Bill O'Reilly, and personal destruction, heaven help us. PBS investigators refused to review any of my personal documentation. They refused to provide me the names of any accusers. They refused to speak to my current staff and refused to provide me any semblance of due process to defend myself against allegations from unknown sources. Their mind was made up. Almost immediately following the meeting, this story broke in Variety as an exclusive. Indeed, I learned more about these allegations reading the Variety story than the PBS investigator shared with me, the accused, in our 3-hour face-to-face meeting. My attorneys were sent a formal letter invoking contractual provision to not distribute my programming, and that was it. Simply put, PBS overreacted and conducted a biased and sloppy investigation which led to a rush to judgment, a trampling of my reputation, which I have spent an entire lifetime trying to establish. This has gone too far, and I, for one, intend to fight back. Now, that's what he posted last night. I've met Tavis Smiley once. I have no horse in this game at all. I don't know him to vouch for him. I have friends who would vouch for him. I have plenty of people in the audience who wouldn't like him, I'm sure. But here's what's being said now on Twitter. If PBS has to walk this back, it's going to be problematic because this will be the edge case that everyone will point to. PBS can't walk this back. How about this one? Some innocent men may be caught in a crossfire of undoing the abusive history. But those men will be an extremely small minority, and while unfortunate, it's a price we have to be okay paying. Thousands of women shouldn't continue to be doubted for the sake of a couple of powerful men. No, that should not be our standard. Our standard should be trying to find the truth. And when there is reasonable doubt, you have to say, there's doubt. How do you feel if it comes to your door? And you're wrongly accused. This is wrong. We're destroying lives.